Hi, this is Kylie Coo. Welcome to my studio. So I recently made some word embellishments for Julie over at the channel Green Macaroni, and some of you have asked to show how I made them, so that's what I'm doing today. So I have a printed list of words just printed on an inkjet printer, and I've taken some book pages. I'm going to use some vintage photo distress spray, some water, cosmetic sponge, and some other ink pads. As well as that, I will use a glue stick, some scissors, a stamp and stamp block, and this is just the one that I'd used on the ones I made for Julie, and I'm also going to use a heat gun, and of course I have my beverage of choice. So I'm just going to quickly go over the printed list because it is inkjet. Now this won't stop it from bleeding, but it just makes sure that it's certainly dry because it was immediately or just right off the printer. So I'm just going to put some ink onto here, just a couple of sprays, and then I'll add some water to that. I just want to dilute it a bit, I don't want it so strong. And of course you could use any colours, these are just the colours that I've chosen, and these are the ones that I used when I was making it for Green Macaroni. So just taking the cosmetic sponge, and I start from a little bit over from the word, just in case it was too dark, and I literally just dab away. It doesn't matter that some areas are slightly darker than others. I just think that gives added interest. I also do the same with a page that I've taken from an old book, and again I will give them a dry. You could let them dry naturally, but it would take a while for me. I also do it on the back, and again this just helps them dry quicker. So I'm going to take this vintage sepia ink. This is a permanent ink. And all I'm going to do is to take my stamp, and any stamp at all would do. This is again just the one that I'd used with Julie. I just have to reaffix that to the block. And then all I'm going to do is to start stamping across the text. Now you could do this to the point where you actually obliterate all the text, or you could leave it where you can actually still see some of the text showing through. I like to have a bit of a varied effect so that each word that I put on will look that little bit different. So I've done that across my entire page, and again I'll give that a dry just to make sure that it's not going to bleed in any way. What I'll do next is to cut out my words. Now I'm only going to cut out I think about 6 just now, just for demonstration, because this can be a little bit time consuming. So I had spaced these words at, I think it was kind of double spacing, just to give me plenty of room, and I'm just cutting roughly along the middle between each word. They could be done smaller, so you get more words on the page, but I just like to give myself room to work. I can never cut a very good straight line, so by the time I get it, I do get it kind of straight. I've used up a lot of that excess around the word anyway. So just cutting out each individual word, and then what I'll do is just to trim each of the words so that there's not much of a border around each one. So as I say, these could be done in really any colour that you want. So now that I've got them all cut out, all I'm going to do at this stage is to take some ink and just go around the borders. Now I'm being very careful here because I'm trying not to touch the ink and to put it onto the main part of the word. And that just allows it to stand out a little bit. So I'm now going to take my glue stick and I'm going to start gluing these down to the page. Now what I'll try and do is to put it in a place where I can see text above and below, and I'll try not to put it on the places where there are no words, although there's no reason why that couldn't be used as well. And I'll space them so that I can get a reasonable size border around each. Just gently dabbing it into place. So I've avoided that gap there. I then give it another quick blast with the heat tool and I start to cut the words out. Now I just cut them out roughly to begin with because again I know that I'll go back in and neaten them out. So just trying to leave a reasonable sized border around them. Then I'll start to neaten them. Now they could be left with quite a big border or they could be cut much shorter. I just like to neaten them, and I know that when I go back to use them I can always cut them smaller if I want to. Now another thing that could be done either at this stage or when they're being used is to actually just go around each word with a pen. Again, it just helps them stand out a little bit, but it is the type of thing that could be done at any stage. It doesn't need to be done now. And of course the other thing that can be done is just going around them at this stage with some ink, though again that could be done when going to actually use them. And here I am now just going around this word with a pen, which again will just help it stand out from the background. So I've also been asked to show how I made the kind of faux glassine envelopes, and I will be back fairly soon to show you how I made those. So meantime, I hope that you found this useful, and as always I thank you for watching, and I look forward to when we meet again next time. So thanks for watching, bye for now.